OK, first to breaking news this morning. Victoria's Police Commissioner Shane Patton has resigned overnight, effective immediately. Like to Tegan Doling, who's in Melbourne, it comes just hours after thousands of officers passed a vote of no confidence against him.
Yeah, Nat, and he was defiant that he was going to remain and try and sign on for another 5 years, despite 87% of Victoria Police members saying that they have no confidence in their Chief Commissioner. It's been such a tumultuous time in the police force here in Victoria. People who were supporters of Shane Patton insist that he is simply a scapegoat for the government. But that is what time is really going to tell. He put out a statement late last night. In that statement, it read that I have immediately decided to step away. It was with a heavy heart that I have made this decision. However, I think it's the right one to allow fresh leadership in the role. Now, Rick Nugent, who was a police officer, he actually went over and he is now the Commissioner for Victoria Emergency Management. He is going to come back into the interim Chief Commissioner role. And in the meantime, Assistant Commissioner Wendy Steenham will fill that position. But then obviously, Nat, it turns to who is going to fill it permanently. There's people like Glenn Weir, even Luke Cornelius. His name's been thrown around too. A lot of the members say they don't want another member from command to take over the job. They want someone who is going to stand by them, someone who is going to get them potentially a better pay deal. So we'll see in the coming weeks, potentially months, who is going to fill that role, because, gee, it's going to be a big one to fill.
Yeah, and the big one, how does it affect crime in Victoria? How do we get those crime rates down? We'll talk to you soon, Tegan. Here's Shervo.
Mind the gap, Nat. More than 1 million Sydney residents are being urged to work from home this morning as fresh train chaos threatens to derail the workday. Rail union bosses say they don't know how many workers will turn up for shifts. Let's go live to Liam Tapper at Lincoln in Sydney's West. So, Liam, is this ever going to end?
Shervo, it just seems like it's the headache that continues to plague Sydney. As you said, more than 1 million people, they were warned to not go to work today, to work from home, find alternate ways of getting to work today. But there are still so many questions in the air as we go to air right now, because there were mixed messages that were sent from the rail union to its members yesterday. Earlier in the day, they were told that after that Fair Work Commission hearing that was found, the determination that was found, that what it found was that by people calling in sick to work today, that did not amount to strike action. Well, just a few hours later, there was a text message sent out by union bosses to say, do not turn up to work today. Make sure that you do partake in the go slow if you are here. But then a few hours later, there was another text message that was sent out to union members saying to come into work, because if union members are coming into work, then it shows that it's the union members who have the power over the rail network, not the government, and it's the government who have lost the control. But what it seems to the general public, the people who suffer, Shervo, it is that it's both the union and government playing tit for tat.
Yeah, if the drivers don't know what's going on, the union...
Fear is this, that industrial action could increase as more commuters are on the network.
Any disruption that people see tomorrow, Tuesday or into next week will be caused by the government.
Now, Shervo, we're going to keep a close eye on this all morning and bring the latest information to all commuters here in Sydney this morning who are no doubt absolutely fed up. Yeah,
the commuters are the ones that are going to suffer today, because that obvious lack of communication between the union, the workers and the government is causing the problem for regular Aussies trying to get to work. My parents actually were stuck for hours the other day at Town Hall, couldn't get home, had to get buses and link with other buses, and just nightmare. Anyway.
Well, and that's the thing. It's been weeks and weeks and weeks and no one knows what's going on.
Got to sort it out.
Yeah, let's get more news now. Here's Eddie.
Thank you, Nat and Shervo. A Queensland social media influencer accused of drugging her own baby for clicks and cash will today front court in Brisbane. Like to Georgie Chumley, who's there for us. Georgie, it's the first time she's appeared in court after being released on bail.
Good morning, Eddie. That's right. It's actually the first opportunity that the media will have to ask her questions as she enters the courtroom this morning after being charged by police and then released on bail at her last court appearance. This mum, she's been charged with a slew of different offences, including producing child exploitation material, torture, as well as poisoning her little girl. The allegations from police are that she poisoned her child while she was still in hospital and that she was captured on CCTV doing so. And and that then she was forced to undergo 2 brain surgeries because of the symptoms that were manufactured. So she is set to face court this morning. The matter is set down for a mention, Eddie.
Thank you, Georgie. Police in Melbourne's west are hunting for answers this morning after a man was killed in a house fire overnight. Live to Andrew McCormack in Melton. Andrew, morning to you. Investigators are expected at that scene this morning.
That's right, Eddie. Arson detectives set to arrive on scene sometime later this morning. A 000 call was placed just before midnight last night here to a property in Melton's west. The fire, which was mainly towards the back of the property, was extinguished, but sadly one person was found deceased. Arson detectives set to arrive on scene. A crime scene has been set up and police on scene later today. It has been, at this stage, they believe it's non-suspicious, but that is unconfirmed as detectives set to investigate just what started this blaze later this morning. Eddie?
Thank you, Andrew. I'll come back to you soon. With the federal election looming, a majority of voters now do not believe the federal Labor government deserves another term. Let's go live to Josh Martin in Canberra. Josh, Albo's approval rating has hit a record low according to this latest poll.
Yes, worrying signs for the Prime Minister, Eddie, as we hit the pointy end of the political cycle. Taking a look at the latest news poll figures, and the coalition still leads 51 to 49 over Labor in the two-party preferred stakes. Anthony Albanese has a -21 satisfaction rating. Peter Dutton ahead with -10. But 45% of voters still think the Labor leader is the better PM, 40% for Mr Dutton. Eddie, all of these numbers are pointing towards a hung parliament where the major parties will have to negotiate with the crossbench to form power. But crucially, tomorrow, the Reserve Bank will decide on interest rates. Economists expect the board to cut for the first time in 4 years. That would have major ramifications for the election, Eddie. It would be a huge boost for a Labor government that voters have marked down for their handling of the cost of living crisis, and it could see the nation head to the polls in April rather than May. Eddie?
Thank you, Josh. A 57-year-old man is behind bars this morning after assaulting a police officer in Sydney South. Officers say the man crashed his station wagon into a bollard at a service station in Kingsgrove just after midnight. While he was being taken to hospital, they say he became aggressive and punched an officer in the face. Charges are yet to be laid. There was an unusual sight in the skies above the Gold Coast over the weekend with an aerial message against the council's controversial view tax. The plane towed a banner advertising a rally on Tuesday. The levy, which has faced strong backlash from locals, increases rates for high-rise residents with ocean or scenic views. Well, Adelaide is set to keep living it up, with the state premier securing the rights to the world's craziest golf event until at least 2031. Let's go live to Sunrise reporter Hayden Nelson. Still recovering, Hayden. The Live Party is staying in South Australia.
It certainly is, Eddie. Following in the footsteps of Chase Koepka and Patrick Reed, this was a hole-in-one for Premier Peter Malinauskas on the watering hole, no less, announcing that Live Golf will stay in Adelaide until 2031, and it came with a blessing from Live Golf, saying that there's no place they'd rather be, and why wouldn't they? The weekend had it all, from Bryson DeChambeau standing on someone's balcony to King Brown Snakes lining up for a beer, from mullets, madness for Dom Dollar, for shoeies. Live Golf is an event like no other here in South Australia. Wykeham Narman took out the individual title. The Fireballs won the team's competition, but the view is that this is just going to get bigger and better. The Premier Peter Malinauskas, the Lord Mayor Greg Norman announcing that it will stay in Adelaide until 2031 and at Grange until 2028 before moving here to the North Adelaide Golf Course. Let's take a listen to that announcement.
North Adelaide Golf Club is basically a diamond in the rough. And we're going to unpick it for you. You're going to see it.
Golf is on a growth trajectory amongst young girls and young boys. Now they'll be able to play where their heroes play, on a public golf course, right in the centre of our city.
The watering hole exploded on that announcement, Eddie, and this golf game is growing, as the Premier says, with young people in South Australia and across the country. It'll see a $50 million redevelopment of the North Adelaide Golf Club to make it Live Golf ready, to make it championship ready. That'll be overseen by Greg Norman, to make it ready for that Live Golf party. And after what we saw on the weekend, I have to say, long live Live Golf in Adelaide. Eddie.
Thank you, Hayden.